Hello, 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 people of God. I think I like that. Yeah, okay. Let me lighten that up some. I do need the dark. Mm, there we go. Do I like that? Maybe so. We'll go with that today. We'll go with that today. I think. Or we're gonna go with. We'll go with that. Anyway, trying to get my lighting. How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing on this January 13th? January 13th, 2026. January 13th, I said it, I did. I said it, I did. How are y'all today? How is your Tuesday going? Me and my wife are doing some different kind of things right now. This is fun, I guess. I feel like it's not doing something. I don't know. Okay. Okay. We'll go with we'll go with this. We'll go with this. I think that's okay. So it is January 13th, and here I am. Welcome to Tea and Truth with Karen Booth. I'm going to give everybody another minute or two to come in since I have fumbled with my life 2 minutes. And you know what to do. Come on in here and say hey so I'll know you're here so I can say hey back. And then tell me where you're watching from. And then if you have a cup, you know what's up. Tell me what's in that cup. Tell me what's in the cup. We got Michelle Brown Russell in the house. All right. Let's do some liking and some tagging and some sharing. Tell your friends to come on in. I have my cup. I have my cup. It's actually my husband's cup, but he doesn't drink coffee or tea or cocoa or anything requiring a cup. So all the cups in this house get used by me. And I'm about to turn my cellular device off so that I have as little interference as possible. There we go. And it is 4:32. About a couple of more minutes. Y'all tell me how you're doing on this super terrific Tuesday. I have returned to work at the boutique with Miss Tina. I love it there. I love it there. I looked up and she was like, well, Karen, Miss Karen, you can just go on and leave and I'll lock up and everything and I'll sweep the floor. And I said, why is she telling me to leave? And I walked around and I said something else. And she's like, you got your stuff? And I looked at my watch. I said, ow, it's 2 o'clock. I'm supposed to go. I'm off work. So I am back. Walona is back at the boutique. Y'all, she has some new stuff in there. I'm gonna post some pictures to my page. I go back to work Thursday. I'll post some pictures to my page so that y'all can see the kind of lovely things that she has in there. Hey, Kim Armstrong. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell me you got a cup. And tell me what's in your cup. We got a couple more minutes. I'm gonna let y'all tag 2-3 people. Evangelize your row. Share the video, please. This cutie has a little top to it. We're gonna 1 more minute and I'm gonna get started. Georgia in the house. Maryland in the house just for a little while. Arkansas in the house. Hey. Okay. We have been here about 6 minutes. We have been about 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh, and we're on. Hello, and welcome to Tea and Truth with Karen Booth. I am the baggage handler, and I help you get the baggage in your soul that is weighing you down and keeping you from living the life that God has for you. I have tried to help usher you into a place where all of those things are being pulled out, right? So, with that being said, this week we are dealing with forgiveness and how it impacts the soul. And yesterday we talked about what the soul was. When we said it's your mind, your will, your emotions, your intellect, and your imagination. So we're in the forgiveness process, right? Your emotions are already impacted. Your emotions are your feelings. And so in the definition of forgiveness, we say that forgiveness is a choice in the Merriam-Webster definition. Forgiveness is the choice to stop allowing your feelings, your emotions, your sensitivities to stop being impacted greatly, to stop being noticeably changed because of hostility, ill will, anger towards someone or something who you perceive to have hurt you, right? All right. So your feelings and your emotions are already in the mix. So this week we're talking about your mind, your will, your intellect, and your imagination. We're going to talk about forgiveness and how those things are impacted, right? So one of the primary places forgiveness lives is in your mind, not because you're making it up, but because it's in there impacting things. It doesn't always show up as anger. It a lot of times shows up as replay. The event may be over, but the mind keeps reopening the file, often without your permission. It just keeps going back there, right? So let's make sure that you don't think brain when we say mind. The brain has a function, the mind has a function. The brain is the physical organ that sits up in there, the picture of the brain with all the curlicue swirls and things all in. That's your brain. It stores information, it processes signals, it keeps your nervous system running, it keeps your body going. The mind is where we think, we interpret, we focus, and we revisit. The brain can remember something, but the mind decides whether we keep replaying it. And what do I say? What do I mean when I say it keeps replaying it? It keeps bringing it back up. What happened? Why did I do that? Why didn't I see that coming? Why didn't I catch that? I'm not going to let that happen again. Because in your mind, you also got all the other experiences and things that it is revisiting, right? The replay is the soul attempting to resolve unresolved pain. Okay? The mind replays pain in search of understanding, in search of control, in search of closure, and protection from future harm. While replay can feel productive, it often keeps the nervous system alert and the soul tense. In my class, I teach them that when you're in a state of unforgiveness, it heightens anxiety because it keeps you in this place of fight or flight. And so when you are holding on to unforgiveness, it just makes you react to everything. The person walking in, you think about the person. Somebody mentions the person's name or whatever entity that hurt you. It could be the church, it could be a job, it could be a club, it could be anything that you think they did this and it hurt me. Right? And so now because they did this and it hurt me, you are now in the place of needing to forgive them so that you can have peace. But sometimes we just don't know. We just don't know. We just don't know that the mind, hey TJ, we just don't know that the mind is the part of us that seeks closure and the brain seeks safety and efficiency. So when you think of the brain's responsibility is keeping you alive, right? It keeps your heart, it signals all the nerve, your whole nervous system, all your systems to do what they're supposed to do. So the brain has to function properly so that you can stay alive, right? So the brain's primary responsibility is survival. It scans for threat, it tries to reduce uncertainty, it tries to conserve energy, it predicts outcomes. When something painful or unresolved happens, the brain flags it as a potential threat. It's not resolved, it's not closed. And so it keeps the memory up front so that you won't prevent so that you can prevent future harm. Right? It doesn't ask why, it just does what it does. And so the mind is where the interpretation happens, the where it assigns meaning, where understanding happens. It asks why. The mind will ask why. The brain don't. The brain doesn't. The mind is the one that asks why. The mind is the one that needs completion. When closure is missing, the mind is going to keep turning it over repeatedly. And what happens when you turn it over, when you keep turning the event over and over in your mind, you keep the wound open. The wound stays fresh. The hurt feels like it just happened 5 minutes ago, and it could have been 5 years ago if you haven't chosen forgiveness. Forgiveness introduces the decision that satisfies both the brain and the mind. The soul will release the offense. The mind receives new meaning. The brain understands and receives safety. So then it starts calming down. It starts calming down. Like you might think in your consciousness you need somebody to explain something to you so that you can have closure. You think you need to have the talk. I'll be telling y'all don't need to have the talk. The talk might not turn out like you wanted to. If you have the talk and they double down on the ignorance, then you're still there. You're still in that space, right? So closure can come from the choice to release. So remember, the brain wants safety. And until you make the choice of forgiveness to put it in that place of safety, it's going to keep coming up, right? Forgiveness does not erase the memory. It doesn't stop the thoughts from returning. But what it does is it gives you the opportunity to take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. See how I slid that in there? You go to 2 Corinthians 10 and 5. We take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Taking a thought captive means interrupting the replay. When the memory returns and you've chosen forgiveness, The response becomes, I forgave that. I released that. And I do not have to dwell in this mental space with this fresh pain on my soul. So you might want to ask yourself today, as I close, what thought keeps coming back uninvited? What keeps resurfacing? What keeps bugging you? What is it that pops up and you be like, oh, I could just, whatever. Take that thought captive. Take a moment to make sure that you have issued, that you have given forgiveness, that you have released whoever it is that harmed you or whatever it is. The brain may remember, the mind decides where you stay. Today, you should choose to reclaim authority over your mental state. Okay? So I hope that today I have helped you. Give you a little brain information so that you know that why it keeps coming up in your mind. Keep coming up in your mind because you haven't forgiven. You haven't made the choice. Because once you make the choice, then that allows God to enter in and he'll give you the closure that you need. Because the closure is likely not going to come from the conversation. You might want to have a conversation because you want to say something ignorant. But we're not going to do that. All right? All right. So that is how unforgiveness can impact your mind and how the brain and mind work in tandem to provide you with safety. I hope you have enjoyed today's Tea and Truth with Karen Boo. Y'all bring your cups tomorrow so we can all have tea time together. Tomorrow we're gonna do how it operates in the will. Okay? All right. I will see y'all tomorrow on Wonderful Wednesday. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all like, tag, and share. Share in all the spaces. Share to your story, share to groups that you're in, share to wherever you have permission to share. To my mighty replay crew, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I love y'all, and I will see y'all tomorrow.